nightmare is waiting for you. Meet the cassowary. It's a living jungle monster stalking the dense rainforest of Australia and New Guinea. Those famous movie raptors, they weren't just CGI. They were literally modeled directly on real cassowary footage. This towering beast stands a massive 5 feet tall, completely dominating the jungle underbrush. Now it wears a casque. That's a thick keratin crown acting as some serious jungle armor. But honestly, here is where the nightmare truly begins. Each foot is armed with a 12-centimeter dagger claw primed and ready to slice. We're talking 5 solid inches of pure bone. It's a literal biological weapon, guys. It kicks forward, backward, and strikes with enough brutal force to completely disembowel a human. Think you're safe up high? Nope. This thing can leap 7 feet straight into the air. Try to run? It charges at 30 miles per hour right through thick, dense vines. Water won't save you either. They're incredibly strong, relentless swimmers. Literally no escape. The wild twist here? This brutal living dinosaur mostly eats fallen fruit. It's technically vegan. But absolutely do not let that diet fool you for a single second. There are over 200 recorded brutal attacks on humans by these massive birds. And this brilliantly illustrates why. 75% happen because people foolishly fed them or got too close. The takeaway here is extremely clear. We must absolutely respect the mighty cassowary. So if you see one, just stop. Watch only from a very safe distance. And above all else, never ever turn your back on a living dinosaur. So here's the ultimate survival checklist. Do not pet, do not feed, and definitely never race it. So I gotta ask, could you survive an encounter with the living velociraptor?
Into the eerie, mist-covered swamps of East Africa.
Meet the Shoebill. Seriously, it looks like a creature straight out of a monster movie.
This living statue of terror stands a massive 5 feet tall.
And it casts a huge, dark shadow with a crazy 8-foot wingspan.
So, what's its primary weapon?
Well, the literal whitest bird beak on Earth.
It's a massive, clog-shaped beak that is purely designed for absolute destruction.
But the real psychological terror, that begins with extreme, dead stillness.
It just stands there, completely unmoving, waiting patiently for hours on end.
The true horror hits exactly when that stillness violently breaks.
Boom, the massive beak snaps shut in just 25 milliseconds.
Guys, that strike is literally faster than a deadly snake,
Crushing lungfish, lizards, and yeah, even baby crocodiles in an instant.
But its most terrifying, straight-up dinosaur-like feature has to be its sound.
It doesn't sing, it bill claps, literally sounding like shaking a giant metal barrel of rocks.
It clatters that giant beak rapidly, kind of like intense machine gun fire.
Then, just add in those cold, yellow eyes and that piercing, unblinking stare.
You totally feel judged by some terrifying, cold-blooded prehistoric ancestor, right?
Their psychological profile, entirely solitary and equipped with seriously razor-sharp claws.
They're fiercely territorial, basically demanding absolute control over their swamp.
They hate other shoebills, and honestly, they definitely despise you too.
Look, it is undeniably a beautifully majestic bird of the wetlands. Yet it's also spine-chillingly terrifying in literally every possible way. So what do you think? A beautiful bird or a prehistoric horror villain?
Real-life, cold-blooded monster. Get ready.
So what weighs 300 pounds and stalks prey like a prehistoric movie monster? The Komodo dragon. Trapped on a few remote Indonesian islands, it's literally the closest living thing to a dinosaur.
These reptilian titans, they grow to a massive 10 feet long. Imagine that walking toward you.
And they pack over 300 pounds of pure, terrifying muscle. They are absolute apex predators.
Plus, their teeth are serrated and curved backward, meaning once they bite, there's literally zero escape.
Their venom is loaded with over 100 toxic bacteria strains. Just one bite seals your fate.
The hunt is absolutely brutal. They bite, stalk you for days, and just wait for the end.
Bones, hooves, skin, they seriously don't care. They'll completely devour whatever is left behind.
Their appetite is insane. They can actually gulp down 80% of their body weight at once.
Think you can outrun one? Nope. They're shockingly fast, hitting 12 miles per hour in short bursts.
Oh, and water isn't a safe zone either. These beasts literally swim across entire oceans. Even baby dragons scramble up trees. Why?
just to avoid getting eaten by the hungry adults.
Now here's where their biology goes full sci-fi. It's a process called parthenogenesis.
Females lay viable eggs that hatch into perfect baby clones. 0 males required. Absolutely wild, right?
These ultimate survivors have been roaming the Earth untouched for over 4 million years.
They even outlasted the mass extinction of the giant rival lizards they used to battle with.
The competition faded away, but the unstoppable Komodo dragon is still right here, ruling its domain.
So not quite a mythical dragon, but a flawless prehistoric nightmare. If you met
Deep in the Central American rainforest lurks a true living monster.
It's got razor-sharp tearing claws built for pure survival.
A jagged crest crowns its head, literally exactly like a Jurassic raptor. When threatened, this beast aggressively sprints on 2 hind legs.
a heavy tail provides perfect balance, making it practically identical to small theropod dinosaurs. So the crucial point is, this ancient monster is actually only 2 feet long.
And this brilliantly illustrates the vibe. Scientists say, Jesus Christ lizard, while locals yell, get out of the way.
Because this tiny raptor has a mind-bending superpower. It can literally run on water.
Now what's really interesting about this slide is how its feet slap, creating anti-sinking air pockets.
It literally blasts across rivers at an insane 5 feet per second.
It can sprint a full 15 feet on the water's surface before it actually has to swim.
To fuel that crazy sprint, it basically runs on a diet of insects, fish, and fruit.
But don't panic, this tiny dinosaur look-alike is completely safe for us humans to be around.
Well, completely safe. Unless you happen to be a cricket, of course.
A water-walking miniature dinosaur? You gotta give the green Basilisk a 10 out of 10 for style.
Let's move to and see how this builds with a crazy fun fact about the newly hatched babies.
They don't even need to learn the water run. They just hatch, immediately possessing the superpower.
If babies hatch with superpowers, what other everyday monsters do you think are hiding in the rainforest?
We're checking out the alligator snapping turtle.
Hanging out in southeastern U.S. swamps, this absolute unit is North America's largest freshwater turtle.
How massive are we talking? Well, some of these river monsters actually weigh over 200 pounds.
They've got 3 rows of spiky dinosaur armor and this totally massive, terrifying beak-like head.
But hunting is where it gets crazy. They literally have a deadly worm-shaped lure on their tongue. It just sits completely still in murky water, mouth wide open, wiggling that little flushworm.
A curious fish swims inside, and bam, crunch. That massive beak slams shut like a bear trap.
They never chase their food. They basically never leave the water. They just wait and wait.
And their patience is legendary. These guys can casually hold their breath underwater for over 40 minutes.
That slow lifestyle really pays off. They easily live a century, with some captive ones hitting 150.
Seriously, there are snappers alive right now that were born before the Civil War, cars and telephones.
Plus, they look exactly the same today as their ancient ancestors did 60 million years ago. Wild, right?
Ready for a genuinely terrifying fun fact? This brings us to a huge warning for you.
That crazy beak can snap a thick wooden broomstick right in half, so please don't test this.
The final verdict here, this amazing river monster is 100% a living dinosaur.
Do not touch. Just admire from the bank. What other prehistoric giants might be hiding in your backyard?
Picture this. Deep in the Galapagos, a literal prehistoric monster rises from the tide. Let's dive in.
Meet the marine iguana. It's basically a miniature Godzilla that mysteriously evolved into a strict vegetarian.
Just look at them. They boast terrifying, jagged dorsal spikes straight out of a kaiju nightmare.
Those viciously long, scraping claws? They look built for tearing flesh, but actually just grip volcanic rock.
And check out those heavily muscled, flattened tails. They perfectly propel this behemoth through crushing ocean waves.
So on land, they're straight-up miniature dinosaurs, but in the water, they transform into slithering sea serpents. Charles Darwin famously despised them back in 1835, actually dubbing them disgusting imps of darkness.
But Darwin totally missed their true marvel. Guys, this is the world's only ocean-swimming lizard.
They plunge 30 feet down into freezing, turbulent currents just to rip algae from submerged rocks.
Even more astonishing, these rugged reptiles can hold their breath in that freezing abyss for 30 whole minutes.
To survive that lethal cold, their heart rate literally drops in half, restricting blood flow to their skin.
Escaping those depths, they use those crazy dinosaur claws to scale sheer, boiling hot volcanic cliffs.
But consuming all that ocean water introduces a deadly threat for them: toxic levels of pure sea salt.
Their monstrous biological solution to this? They violently sneeze the salt straight out of their skulls.
You see, specialized cranial glands act as biological desalination plants, filtering heavy salt directly from their blood.
Then, they launch it from their nostrils like a highly pressurized reptilian salt cannon. Wild, right?
But their absolute most bizarre superpower activates during El Niño, when oceans warm and food completely vanishes.
To prevent starvation, they literally shrink their own skeletons. Then, they miraculously grow back when conditions improve.
This oceanic Godzilla proves life always finds a way. What other wild monsters will evolution forge next?
Meet the secretary bird, an absolute feathered monster hiding in plain sight.
Just picture an eagle on stilts, stalking the African savanna with a terrifying raptor shriek.
It stands over 4 feet tall, packing a vicious, hooked beak that delivers a bone-chilling snap.
It's related to modern birds of prey, but its brutal hunting style is straight up prehistoric.
Seriously, its ruthless efficiency is almost identical to a small theropod dinosaur. It's wild. But the real lethal weapon? Those incredibly powerful, incredibly long, crane-like legs.
Stalking through tall grass on foot, it spots its prey. But it doesn't peck, it stomps.
One single, devastating kick delivers 5 times its own body weight in pure force.
Boom! That heavy stomp instantly crushes a snake's skull before it even knows what hit it.
This unique anatomy sets up an entirely merciless, brutal, and highly effective hunting sequence. First up, it violently stomps the grass, flushing out hidden snakes, lizards, or terrified rodents. Then, rapid-fire stomping with both feet, it spreads massive wings to balance itself and completely disorient the target. It unleashes a relentless barrage of heavy blows. It literally does not stop until the prey stops moving.
Then comes the really eerie part, guys. The fresh kill is swallowed entirely whole.
But let's shift gears from monster movie to romance. They actually have a beautifully choreographed mating dance.
Pairs run together, spread wings, and leap skyward. It literally looks like 2 dinosaurs performing an elegant ballet.
Plus, they mate for life, build massive acacia tree nests, and are incredibly dedicated parents.
Still, our final verdict stands. This bird is the undisputed 10 out of 10 dinosaur stomping champion.
Getting back to that monster movie vibe, this is definitely one terrifying creature you wouldn't want to fight.
Which leaves us with one fascinating question to end this explainer. What other dinosaurs are hiding in plain sight?